Okay, so I think that as it turns out, you guys were saying that perhaps things are not quite as urgent for us to finish various quests before we start going back to the main quest, which is significant because I was just thinking to myself, you know, if we have to collect the last of the Gwent cards before we finish the main quest, or at least this component of the main quest, then we might be finding ourselves doing a lot of sifting through. I believe it was, what, Novigrad? Or, no, more likely Velen, that we had, like, 2 Gwent cards that we still needed for. And I was just imagining, like, okay, well, how do we go about checking which areas we still have to get Gwent cards from? It. Only thing I could think of was going to our map and going to possibly every single fast travel location, or at least every fast travel location that we might expect to actually encounter people in, and then just try talking to everyone in the process, which, you know, didn't sound terribly exciting to me. So, oh, I also forgot that we had this. It's hidden treasure over here that we have not yet completed. Tell you what, I might actually go do that now, because I totally forgot about that. It's just hiding in the corner there, unfinished. So I think in that case, we'll probably check that out. I think we'll hold out a little bit longer on trying to collect the last couple Gwent cards, unless and until you guys have any tips as to which people we have not earned Gwent cards from, because otherwise, like I said, it's going to be a long and grueling process trying to figure out who it is, because Velen is kind of ginormous. But, okay. Why don't we get out of here, first and foremost. And if we just take a quick look from a weight standpoint, how are we doing? Oh, we're doing fine. Okay, it's not like we need to go out and sell a bunch of stuff here. So let's check out the question mark, or, well, let's get to the fast travel spot if we can actually do it. Let's check out this spot down here. And I think I remember this was, a water hag or something like that, that when we first encountered it was level question mark, which meant it was way too strong for us. But that was a long time ago. So in theory, it should be doable at this stage. I also don't remember what this fast travel spot brings us to. They're like enemies here? I mean, they're horse corpses currently, so there's that. But let's drop a marker here, and we'll head on over. Okay. And this is looking like a roach type of situation as well. I thought I heard a beehive here somewhere, but I'm currently not seeing it. Also, Roach, where'd you go? And apparently we haven't looted this stuff? What? Why? They're like guards around here? It doesn't look like it. That's not bad stuff either. Let's say maybe it's because it was just complete junk. We passed on it, but it doesn't look like it. Alright, well, this is the direction in which we're looking to go. More loot? Oh no, that's just a random plant. That's not a huge deal. But also, Roach refused to show up. Come on, Roach. There she is. That's more like it. Okay. So we'll check this place out, and then I think we'll probably end up going back to trying to assemble the troops in preparation for our big fight coming up here. Let's see, do we stick to the path, or do we just kind of veer off it here? Might veer off it.
Let's go.
Sounded like a drowner over there. No. Okay, well, does require that we go across some of the water here, but I think this is not so bad. And I think it will be more or less right on the other side here as soon as we make a landing. So let's save, because I don't know what level this enemy is going to be. Like I said, when we first encountered it, it was question mark, question mark, question mark. So it was very strong at that point in time. What level will it actually be now that hopefully we can see? Okay, 28. We are, what, 26 right now? So that's certainly doable. It is a little bit tough. He is very keen on punching us, which is a little bit strange. It's not usually what these brave hags do. That dealt a ton of damage. Did we crit or something? That's huge. You could just, like, not do that for just a second here so we can get this back on. Thank you. I mean, I was gonna throw on some kind of oil or something like that, but turned out not necessary. Okay. Got a nice rune stone out of it, but ultimately I think this is the real question, is what were you guarding? Answer is this. Interesting. Let's read the crumpled letter. Is that John or Jan? I don't know. Take your guess. Come back to me. I'm begging you. Each day is more dangerous than the last. There's strange men lurking outside the house, watching you, carrying weapons. I'm afraid they know something about our stash of valuables and are waiting for a chance to rob us, or worse. I remember what you wrote earlier, that you can't abandon your post now, that they owe you back pay, that if you don't wait, the coin's gone for good. But what would you rather be, a rich widower or a poor husband? You're Halleck. Lee ignored. New quest. Okay. So we'll definitely check that out. We were just talking about how we may not need to do our side quests. Okay, yeah, it is treasure hunt, technically speaking. It says level 28, probably because we just fought a level 28 enemy. I'm guessing we probably won't have any more enemies here. Just going to be mostly searching from here on out. We were just saying we may not need to do all the side quests before we actually make it to, or go back to the main quest, but I think this is right here, so not really much reason not to. Oh yeah, you know, we'll just take apples off of dead bodies, no big deal, really. Seems to really want us to get the beehives. Did I miss? Did I aim too low? I think I actually aimed too low. I didn't even realize that elevation mattered on that. Didn't realize we were really working in three-dimensional space there. I thought 2 would suffice. Apparently we are still getting attacked by bees. That's because we only burned one of those down. This is the most resilient beehive you will ever see. Watch this actually be the quest item. Nah, it's just a bunch of honeycomb. That is presumably it right there, but let's take a look at what the other stuff is. Oh! Lovely. Just lovely. Anything else here? Doesn't seem like it. I think we will open that red chest and see what the big deal is about this hidden treasure. Oh, that's just the skull. Right. So... okay. This is presumably going to say, yes, quest completed. Harval, hold on. I think I remember that name. Is that one of the weapons from The Witcher 1 that you got from fighting some draconids on a remote island? Possibly the first draconids that you ever fight in the game? I want to say that is the case, but that was over a year ago that that I did that, so can't be 100% sure, but I am curious how good that sword might be. Reasonably high level, so the damage is okay. It's not as good as our Griffin sword here. Igni intensity against the cause burning. It is fire themed, which does perhaps make you wonder if that is because it was at one point in time sort of indirectly tied to dragons. If I do remember that correctly, but not something we're going to end up using here. It's, like I said, worse than our existing weapon, but it is worth something. So at the very least, we'll sell it, if not potentially break it down into components. We'll have to see what it turns into when we are next at a place where we can break stuff down. But for a second, I was like, what is that? That is the enemy that we just fought. Other thing is, we are very close to leveling up right now. How much experience do we need to level? A little under 200, which doesn't look like a lot when you look at the meter like that, but that is a fair bit. You know, like a main quest might blow through that relatively quickly, but if we're just, say, trying to fight enemies to force our way into leveling up, then that'd probably take a little while, because enemies tend not to give much in the way of experience. Here is our fast travel spot. And I think we will at this point. Just start going back to recruiting people. Because, yeah, we have Free Spirit, which, I mean, this is the books one, and if we happen across some books at a random shopkeeper that have that exclamation point, then of course we'll pick them up, but don't think we're going to make much of a committed effort to tracking down every last shopkeeper in the world to see if they have those books, because we were saying that this quest might actually be bugged, so there's a chance we might, unfortunately, not be able to finish it. Fortunately, it is seemingly a relatively minor quest, so hopefully that, if it does come to pass, is not a huge deal. Other thing would be the collecting all the Gwent cards, but I believe we can wait a little bit longer before doing that, because just do a quick reminder here as to how many cards we have left and where those cards are. I thought it was like 2, maybe 3. I thought they were all in Velen. Hold on, I just passed it. It's this one, right? Yes. Yeah, 2 in Velen. And that's it. So that's what I was talking about before, where I was saying, you know, I certainly don't remember who we have and have not played at Gwent in Velen. That was a long time ago that we were exploring Velen. I mean, of course, we're in Velen right now. But when we initially went through Velen, that was a very long time ago. So I can't say who it is or was that we have not yet played on that. So if you in chat do, in fact, have a ridiculous memory, and you can say, these are the 2 people that you have yet to play, Lids, that would be amazing. Otherwise, yeah, we may at some point in time, in the not-so-distant future, have an extended search through the vast wilderness of Velen to try to track down those last 2 people. But that, I believe, is something we'll do on a future occasion. And for now, I think we're headed back to either Vizima to talk to the Emperor, or Skellige to talk to Krach, Ermion, and Ceres. And I'm thinking because the actual island on which we are expecting to find Ciri is also in Skellige, I think that we probably go Vizima first, and then we'll do the last round of recruiting people, and just follow up immediately thereafter by trying to find Ciri. So let's go here first. Let me just double check real quick. I'm pretty sure that's where he is, because we just don't have it active right now. Brothers in Arms, Nilfgaard, talk to Emir. Yeah, and I think we were reading this one recently as well. Witcher decides to swallow his pride and go to the Emperor of Nilfgaard for help. So we are trying to find as many allies we can get in preparation for what appears to be a big fight against the Wild Hunt. And the Emperor himself, I was speculating, probably wouldn't fight directly, but I mean, he has a ginormous army, and that certainly would be very helpful to have him contribute in that way. And we did see that some people that we've encountered, some people that we've tried to speak to in effort to get additional assistance, turned us down, namely Siggy, and, well, there's also Hera, but she's no longer with us. So, and that was presumably because, at least in the case of Siggy, we basically, you know, had him lose a bunch of his money. Although we did fight, or at least try to fight Radovid, so I was a little bit surprised still that, you know, we did do a quest for him, and yet he was not terribly appreciative. But, for Emir, we are, of course, the main quest is largely for him. I was originally thinking that it was actually going to be you who's going to be our friend on the Nilfgaardian side.
Poor chaps can't get their minds off politics, not for an instant. I truly hope they'll allow themselves some respite after the coronation.
Yeah, so I was a little bit surprised, because it seemed like there's a bit of a friendship between these two. So, more similar to the types of allies we were trying to call upon with, well, in other areas. And we sort of did a quest with this guy when we raced him back in Velen. But, the question with Emir is going to be, well, was our performance adequate for him to feel as if he ought to contribute to our cause? Now, could make the case that, well, we haven't found Ciri yet, so the answer will be no, since that was the primary thing that he wanted us to do. But at the same time, we need to do this to find Ciri. And you would think that he would care about that. He, after all, did hire us for that exact purpose. So, fingers crossed in that regard. Also, a little bit odd that we can just waltz right in to talk to the Emperor. Like, oh, I mean, sure, yes, we did walk past a bunch of guards, yes, I suppose. But, the Emperor's just, like, chilling right here. Okay, let's just save real quick, just in case this is, for whatever reason, some catastrophic failure to talk to him now.
Your Imperial Majesty.
Witcher, why have you come?
I've managed to find out where Ciri is.
Finally, I'd begun to doubt the wisdom of enlisting you. Bring her here.
Thanks for the compliment.
The Wild Hunt's pursuing her. Kaer Morhen's the only place she'll be safe.
That was not a suggestion. I can defend my own daughter.
This is okay. Perhaps going to be a difficult way to get his support, yes, but not in the way that I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be, okay, either you have done enough to get his approval, or you have not. It's just basically going to check what have you already done at this stage in the game. But instead, perhaps it is more a question of politics. Abide by the Emperor's terms, and he will assist you. Do not do so, and he will not help. Like I said, he does have a lot of resources that could be of a lot of assistance. But he is certainly a rather prideful person who I think would not take too kindly to us saying, sorry, but we are insisting on us going our way and we won't bring Ciri here. I mean, we could say that we're going to bring her here and then proceed to not bring her here. I mean, Vizima, I assume that he's saying, like, bring her to Vizima, which is where we currently are. It is a castle. Like, of all the possible places to fend off a huge swarm of monsters, it's not the worst place to be. I mean, that's basically the same reason why we want to be at Kaer Morhen, right? And Kaer Morhen has that huge broken wall. And I assume that Vizima does not, although I suppose, like, way back in Witcher 1, it may have also gotten damaged. But, basically, the same reasons why Kaer Morhen is an intriguing place to assemble our troops and try to fight off the Wild Hunt. Vizima, you could make the same case about trying to fight them here. So, I think we do try to appease him here. Because he doesn't like to take no as an answer. So,
I don't doubt it. Against conventional foes, the Wild Hunt's different. Facing it here would put Vizima at risk. Hundreds of innocents could die.
Okay, I suppose from a civilian casualty standpoint, that makes sense.
Army stands to be far more helpful there.
Agreed.
Nice.
I shall send a banner with you. On one condition. General Voris will lead it.
Ah, okay. There we go.
Can't
Very
agree
person.
to that.
What?
I cannot agree to witches commanding my troops.
Well, I'm not about to give in. You don't look it either. Sorry to take
what?
up your time, Your Majesty.
Excuse me?
Bring me Ciri.
I will, if that's what she wants.
Oh, take that. Okay, so that was very interesting. Ultimately, I suppose that means that the Emperor was not willing to assist us? Because he was saying that, okay, yes, I will send some troops to go with you. However, you need to have Movran Vorhis, the guy who I was just saying. I thought that he was probably going to be the person that we were going to ask to be our ally, not the Emperor. And Geralt, for some reason, just would not take that as a yes. So I was a little surprised by that. You know, on one hand, I kind of get like, okay, yes, Geralt wants to make sure that we are doing things according to his plan, because we are, we are the experts here, not so much the Emperor, not so much the Emperor's general. And as the general was saying, and Geralt was sort of saying, Emperor was maybe thinking more from a conventional warfare standpoint, whereas we're going against the Wild Hunt here. This isn't anything but a conventional fight. Can we move this stuff? I think so. Yeah, that's decent stuff at that. Yeah. So I'm a little surprised by that, because it certainly seemed like we took the right option there. Politically speaking, we found a way to sort of not insult the Emperor, you know? Like, basically by saying, oh, your idea was stupid. Like, of course he was going to say no if we went that route. But we said, well, I understand your perspective, why you want to defend people, or why you want to bring Ciri here and fight the Wild Hunt here. But at the same time, there are more civilians here, and therefore there's more potential for civilian casualties. It made sense, and the Emperor agreed that that was reason not to fight them here. But then the whole, well, I didn't want to have Nilfgaardian general leading your troops, so I wanted to do it myself, which I didn't even have any dialogue options for that. That was all, you know, all just Geralt speaking off the cuff with no input from me at all. So that makes me wonder, like, is it even possible to get the Emperor's support? It may not be. So I don't know what else we could have done, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, obviously, we couldn't have gotten Ciri already, or at least I assume that you need to assemble your troops before you actually try to get Ciri. We'd already talked to Movran, so I don't think it's like by chatting with him we would have been able to go. Oh, you're right in front of me. I don't think it was like, you know, by talking to you or doing anything in particular with you, we could have made it such that Geralt would have been okay having him be the leader of the Nilfgaardian group. Because we've already done everything that you can do with him, I believe. So, strange. I suppose it, in that case, maybe. It's just that you truthfully can't actually get the support of Nilfgaard here, and it's mostly just you know, to have this appears on the quest list to have this conversation and give you that chance to at least see what could have been, or theorize what could have been, even if it's not actually possible to make it happen. I don't know, a little bit odd, but I think we head over to Skellige in this case, because we have certainly 3 people here that are on our list in terms of who we can chat with. That being Brock, who I assume is still in Kertrolda, Saris, who may be as well, and then Ermion, who's probably over at Gettyneath. And I have some doubts about whether Ermion is going to assist us for those same reasons that we were talking about for people like Siggy, and I suppose people like the Emperor as well, because we certainly did some things that made him not so happy with us. I'm thinking of when Geralt and mostly Yen stole the Mask of Ouroboros, and he was very displeased, especially when Yen actually used it. And I'm not really sure we've done enough to make it up to him at this stage. You know, has he gotten over that? Or is he still going to hold that against us? I am not sure, so I'm not convinced that he's actually going to help us here. I think Croc and Saris are pretty much guaranteed.
Yennefer and the Witchers managed to do it. The ugliest man alive revealed himself to be not.
And the other thing is that I don't even know what Ermion would do to assist us. It was, I think, one interesting thing that we did find out with the Emperor, even if he didn't ultimately end up helping us, was he did say that he was going to offer troops, not fight himself, and that was what I suspected was going to be the case. But that is the first person, I believe, who has outright stated, like, oh yes, I'll bring other people along with me. Like, I wouldn't necessarily rule out people like, say, Roach doing that with some Temerians that he's commanding, or potentially Voltan might have some friends as well. But they don't have, like, I suppose you could make the case that perhaps Roach kind of has an army. Someone is up here. Let's actually take a look at our map here, and this is Ceres. That's Croc. Okay, let's actually go Croc first, I think. Who is through this way, I would think. But yeah, so I think that is at least telling to hear that some of our friends can offer other forms of assistance rather than just fighting directly. Like, for example, that might mean that Ermion, despite not really being a fighter himself, being a druid, he might have other types of magical assistance or, you know, something along those lines to provide us with. So maybe that's more the way that he would assist us. But anyways, Croc first. Let's save here. I don't expect that there's gonna be any reason for him to say no to us, because we've basically done any and everything for him, and he is basically our best bro in Skellige. But you never know, I guess.
Talk.
Okay. We've talked about all this other stuff. So yes, straight to the Wild Hunt.
This isn't easy, but I need to ask you a favor. A big one.
Tell me, friend.
Ciri, I know where she is, but I also know that as soon as I reach her, the Wild Hunt will know I did. They'll come after us, attack, and we'll need to respond with strength. Can I count on you?
The Black Ones first, now Wraiths. Such is life. Bring her here, and we'll face them in battle.
Nice, Croc. You mentioned Nilfgaard, though? You said the Black Ones. Don't think we've heard anything of that. Care to explain that real quick?
What's this about the Nilfgaardians?
Of late, look seaward and you'll see their sun on a sail, staring right back. We've yet to capture any of their crew, but only a fool wouldn't know they're planning something.
Yeah.
But fear not. We'll banish the Black Ones and the Wild Hunt. Two birds with one skeleton axe. City will be safe in Caertrone.
Okay. We do want to try to fight at Kaer Morhen for the same reasons we were saying we wanted to avoid fighting at Vizima. Of course, we did reach a similar point in our conversation with the Emperor just minutes ago, where it seemed as though we had his support, and then as soon as we brought up, hey, except we want to fight somewhere else, then the Emperor was like, absolutely not. Or, well, I guess that wasn't actually the way that it worked out, but ultimately, that was what indirectly led to things breaking down in our negotiations, so gotta be a little bit careful here. There's a chance that this might actually be something to prevent Croft from helping us. I mean, if there are Nilfgaardians that are about to attack him, which it sounds like may be the case, then he may say, you know, love to help you, but at the same time, can't leave Skellige right now when we are moments away, perhaps, from being at war with Nilfgaard.
Can't risk your men's lives. Kaer Morhen, we fight them there, nowhere else.
Kaer Morhen is hundreds of miles away.
He's not wrong.
To move an army there would take weeks. Not to mention, I'd expose the Isles to Nilfgaard's blows.
That too. He's not
Geralt,
wrong.
Forgive me, but I cannot do it.
I understand. Won't take up any more of your time. Farewell.
Wait.
Hmm?
Won't let you leave empty-handed. I'll help as I can. Come with me.
Okay. So yeah, totally understandable in that case, I think, as to why he's not able to do
Beautiful
that.
craftsmanship. Got a talented smith.
A sword? That we're actually gonna take?
King Erland Uncrate did.
Erland Stonefist. So this is Winter's Blade. Thought it was a legend.
Forged in Mahakam, tempered in dragon fire. Been in the Uncrate family for centuries. And now, it's yours.
Oh. I mean, part of me feels like we can't accept this. It's been in the Uncrate family for centuries, like you said, and apparently legendary weapon. At the same time, this is a pretty dire situation right here, and we do kind of need all the assistance we can get. Now, how much of a difference is one sword going to do compared to potentially having, you know, an army's worth, or at least a unit worth of Skelligers that could have assisted us? probably would have still preferred the Skelgers by a lot, but I think we kind of need to take what we can get here.
Thank you. This can't be easy for you. I appreciate it all the more.
And in some ways, even gonna take it down. For a second, I thought he was gonna like magically have it just through telekinesis get down to his hands.
That's my intention. Farewell.
Okay. So yes, I think understandable more so with Croc as to why he was not able to help us. I mean, you just look at the map here, like we go to the world map, Skellige, Kaer basically as far as you can get. I mean, then again, Nilfgaard is like down here, like Toussaint is in Nilfgaard, but then again, Nilfgaard is expanding everywhere. It's like they're here, they're here, they're here, they're on the doorstep of Novigrad. Like they could make it work, right? So not as unreasonable for Nilfgaard to have supplied some troops for us. Also, not to mention, Nilfgaard is trying to attack Skellige. They're perhaps about to be at war, and so Skellige being on the defensive is like, we kind of need to have everything that we can have to, you know, stop Nilfgaard from taking over. Whereas for Nilfgaard, it's like, yeah, sure, you know, we can maybe delay the assault on Skellige for a week or so, you know, just focus on helping you out in Kaer Morhen for a little bit, and then once we're done, we'll head back to Skellige. But yeah, similar to the Emperor as well in that case, where I was not able to negotiate that at all with Croc once we got to the whole like location of the fight aspect of it. Obviously, you know, we could have opted not to take the sword, but did so. And you know, I'm sure you could probably, I mean, you could make the case for not taking the sword, right? Like I said, I certainly don't feel great about doing it, because it was in his family for all that time. But you could also make the case, you know, Croc, you can see, did really want to help us, but just couldn't do. Oh, and of course, it's not even as good as our existing weapon, so you were probably not even going to use it. Yeah. Can we return it? Can we return it right now?
Something I've always wondered.
Because I don't want to accidentally sell it. He said something to us at the end of that conversation, and I admittedly missed it because I was talking over him. I thought it was something basically saying, hey, return it when you're done. And so if we don't actually need it, can we just give it back to him now? And we just return it to you and be like, hey, thanks for the offer and everything, but don't need the sword anymore? I mean, that probably wouldn't look so good. No, okay, can't do anything with that. I was gonna say, like, one of the reasons why you could make the case that it's still, you know, even from Croc's perspective, not bad to give the sword away, is, you know, he feels like he owes us a favor. He really wants to help, but he knows that he can't supply troops because he has to defend his land from the Nilfgaardians. He just wishes there was some way for him to make it up to us, and so by lending the sword, that is his way of doing just that. But, let's see, is there's up here? Yeah. Also, how do we actually get up there? Or just higher up in general? I mean, we've spent a lot of time going down around here, but not a lot of time going up. Actually, not sure. Don't. Oh, okay, this does go up. Okay, this must be it. Yeah, so potentially for that reason, you can make the case that, well, you know, Croc was just looking for some way to feel like he was helping us out, even if he couldn't supply troops. But then, for that very reason, if we turned around and said, well, tell you what, Croc, we actually don't like your super special family sword that was forged with dragon fire and passed down for generations. Yeah, it's actually kind of junk. We're just going to give it back to you because we don't like it. That probably would not have gone over very well. Saris, though, I think maybe slightly better probability of you actually helping us, because you're presumably just going to help us yourself and fight alongside us. Less likely to try to bring a whole squad around with you. But we'll see.
Your
Of course,
Royal
still,
Majesty, would you spare a moment?
she is the queen now.
Come home, Geralt. I'm the same lass I was, save for the title. A lot of things changed.
But oh, and we've actually not spoken to her since she became queen, apparently. But I suppose with her being queen, you could also make the case that she's not going to abandon Skellige when the Nilfgaardians are perhaps about to attack her. So might run into the same issue that we ran into with Croc, but we'll see. Let's chat a little bit about this other stuff first, though.
How's it feel to rule? Jarl's giving you any trouble?
They're all very understanding. They seem to believe in me. Besides Lugos, of course.
Tried talking to him? Could still win him over.
I don't know about that. He's more mule-headed than my father, but I'll try, of course.
Okay. What about King Bran's death?
Sad when someone like Bran dies. Everyone says he was a good king.
It's not fitting to speak elsewise about the dead.
Mean you don't agree?
Bran spent his life at sea. And while he was away, old feuds flared, devouring the Isles from the inside. Folk grew furious,
Devouring them?
claiming there was no one to mediate, resolve quarrels. But then Bran would return with loot, throw a feast, let the mead flow in rivers, and everyone loved him again.
That is an interesting perspective. You know, while he's away, everything seems to be going not so great. The quarrels between the clans just get all the more fierce. Then he comes back. It's like, hey, I have a bunch of loot. Like, oh, okay, never mind. We'll party together for a little bit. Then he leaves to go out and do some more raids. And suddenly, you know, people don't like each other so much once again. And it seems like, in many ways, that is sort of the opposite approach that Cerys wants to take. She wants to be taking more of a diplomatic approach where she is trying to build bridges across different clans, which I would think is the right answer, especially for if you're trying to unite against a Nilfgaardian assault. But then there's the whole Wild Hunt question.
Got a delicate matter I wanted to bring up. Need your help.
What is it?
Croc's mentioned Ciri to you? He must have.
Have you found her?
Not yet, but I'm close. Problem is, soon as I get to her, the Wild Hunt will probably be able to locate us, quickly. So I'll want to take her to Kaer Morhen, battle the hunt there. I'm looking for allies.
What do you say?
I can't leave the Isles now.
That's what I
It's
figured.
impossible. What I can do is give you my best warrior,
Oh?
Hjalmar.
Ah.
I'm sure of it. In fact, I think I'll be overjoyed.
Does seem very much like a Hjalmar kind of thing.
Yeah, guess I do.
It does seem like something he'd
No
be
doubt
willing to
he'll be
do.
valiant. I hope he proves useful too. Good luck.
Alright, I think we'll certainly take that. Yeah, I was gonna say, does that mean we actually talk to Hjalmar, or does he just magically show up where we're looking for him? He's right here. Okay, so that's at least awfully convenient. Hey Hjalmar, hate to break it to you, buddy, but your sister may or may not have just volunteered you to fight a gigantic force of specters. You may or may not have any say in the matter, but what's up?
Geralt, how are things?
Oh, also have not caught up with you recently, apparently. He grew up with Ciri? So, yeah. That's something that I mostly know Ciri's past based on what you guys in chat and in the comments have told me over time, and know that Croc, at least, had a bit of time with Ciri and Ermion as well. But I guess I was assuming that Hjalmar and Cerys did not have as direct of a relationship with her, although this would suggest perhaps just the opposite. I mean, they're perhaps right around the same age, so it makes some sense.
You and Ciri, as I remember, you two grew up together, at least for a while.
Aye, spent half her childhood in the Isles. Always at my heels she was, scrawny wee thing. But her leaps on ice skates, why, none of us could rival them. Tried to outdo her once. Smashed me mouth on a rock.
Then you went to Croc and announced you'd agreed to wed.
You hear of that?
Ah.
We had 12 winters on us, both.
At 12,
Thought of
okay.
continuing that
Not like
romance.
that was
Me dad
too
whipped it out
serious.
of me head. Wonder what it'd be like to see her now.
It sounds like that was, well, a while ago. Obviously, you are not 12, nor is Siri. I thought I saw someone saying a day or two ago that Siri is like 21-ish, so 9-ish years, which is a fairly long time. If you truthfully haven't seen her at all since then. But, is that gonna be enough to, convince you to tag along with us to Kaer Morhen? Let's ask about a voyage first, and, well, how about a voyage, say, northward, toward, I don't know, like, say, like a Witcher castle in the middle of nowhere?
Got another voyage in mind?
Of course. Ice Giant was just the beginning. Besides, I got all kinds of horse sons already saying he wasn't that big.
What about the folk of Undvik? You and your men were gonna help them return to their isle and rebuild Urskar.
Ceres will take care of that.
Delmer's like, I fight stuff. Ceres does everything else. Okay. Along those lines, fighting.
The wild
We could
hunts
use some people who
preparing
do
to
that.
attack Kaer Morhen could use your help.
Rates at the gate of your Witcher stronghold. You're a friend of the clan. I cannot refuse you. What's more, no one Krait's ever stood in battle such a foe. I'll leave at once.
Thanks. Won't forget this.
Awesome. So not necessarily the person that I thought we were going to get, but ultimately, I think still a big pickup. Get Hjalmar at our side. Now, he didn't say that he is bringing anyone with him. So, you know, how much of a difference does quite literally one guy make in a fight against who knows how many members of the Wild Hunt? Hard to say, especially because, like I was saying before, don't really know to what extent Roach and or
keep an eye on him.
or Zoltan will bring friends with them, or if they're just going to be, you know, two people collectively.
Did you sever his head?
Because, you know, like, it's a little bit concerned, just thinking about, you know, how are our numbers looking here? And the thing is, we don't have a lot.